So, good day, guys. So, in today's class, we'll be doing material costing, um, IS2, which is costing and accounting on inventories. Majorly, I'll be dwelling on material costing here. So, we'll be looking at more advanced stuffs under this topic. So, I will start by introducing, under the element of costs that I explained in one of my videos. Under the element of cost, I said we have majorly three. We have the material costing, we have the labor, and we have the expense. So all these are what made up the cost of an organization. And according to research and all of this stuff, it is believed that the costs of production of most business organizations, material always amount to 60% of it. So that means that the amount of material always amount to 60% of the costs a business organization incurs. So that is why it is very necessary for us to place some importance, to place some degree of importance on my accounting for costing. So in this class, we'll be looking at, there are two aspects to this material costing. Yes, there are two aspects to it. Number one, we're talking about inventory pricing, and other one we're talking about inventory level. So but for the sake of this video, I'll be dwelling on inventory pricing. Inventory pricing just simply means the price at which we charge for our goods. Price at which we charge for our inventories. We charge for inventories. So how do we determine the price to charge for inventories? That is what this topic dwell about. So maybe in other levels, we'll be talking about inventory level in other video classes. So talking about inventory pricing, so the price at which we charge for our inventory is what we call inventory pricing. And there are three major methods to this. I will explain FIFO, I will explain LIFO, and I will explain weighted average method. Yes, so there are three methods a business organization can deploy. Is that they make use of FIFO, which is first in first out, or LIFO, which is last in first out, or weighted average method. So first in first out, last in first out, and weighted average method. Now this first in first out dwell on the fact that any goods we bought first is what we are going to sold first, while last in first out dwells on the fact that the last inventory we bought is what we are going to sold first. Actually, in most business organizations, this is what they use: FIFO and weighted average method. This is what most business organizations use: FIFO and weighted average method. But for examination sake, we will consider LIFO. So let's take a practical question so you understand what I actually mean by FIFO, LIFO, weighted average method, and all of that. So we have Ajilosun Wakaba PLC started business on January 1st, 2018, and received the following into stock. So we have the date, we have the unit they received, we have the cost per unit. So this is the received, that means what they received. This is part of what they bought. So on January 6th, they bought 20,000 units at 10 per 1. January 16, 15,000 units at 12.5 per 1. January 26, 30,000 units at 15.0 per 1. So they give us following information that the following issues were also made from the stock to production floors. So that means that these are what they sold. Yes, what they sold. January 8, they sold 8,000 units. January 18, they sold 10,000 units. January 24, they sold 6,000 units. January 29, 20,000 units. and they told us that you are required to prepare the store's account for the month of January 2018 using FIFO method, LIFO, and weighted average method. So let's examine and solve this question together. Now, the question is, how do we rule for questions like this? We have our date, first, then we have our receipt. Sorry, we have our date, we have our receipt, yes, receipt, issues, and balance. Receipt, issue, and balance. Now we have something like this. For receipt, we have this. For issue and for balance. So this is what is going to look like. Now, and this is not the whole. Under receipt, issue, and balance, you now have date. Sorry, you have your quantity. Your quantity. After your quantity, your unit price and value. Your quantity, unit price, and value. Your quantity, unit price, and value. So we rule for them. Quantity, unit price, and value. Quantity, unit price, and value. Quantity, unit price, and value. So now you have your format for whether FIFO, LIFO, anyone. So, but from this question, they said you are required to prepare the store's account for the month of January 2018 using FIFO method, LIFO, and weighted average method. So let's start with FIFO method. FIFO method. So whatever method you are using, there are some things you must take note. Now, if you come back to the question, you will observe that in our questions we have dates. Now, they said Ajibosun Wakaba PLC started business on January 1st, 2018 and received the following into stock. So, received the following into stock. This means that this was the date they made purchases, the date they bought goods. January 6th, they bought 20,000 and so on. So the following issues we sold. So these are the dates they sold. So when solving this question, you must follow the dates. Not that you will first treat those that they bought first and those that they sold. No, you follow the date. January 6th, after January 6th, January 8th, after January 8th, January 16th, after January 16th, January 18th, then January 24th, January 26th, and 29th. So you must follow dates, not just treating them separately. So we start by saying the first item they said that date January 6th. So that was the day they bought. So January 6th, they bought 20,000 at 10 per unit. Now, this receipt side of the question, this receipt side says the question is the side where we show everything we bought will be on this side. Now, everything we sold will be on this side, issue. And whenever we are buying, this is like our store. This balance is like store, where whatever we are buying, we will keep it in store. Whatever we are selling, we will remove it from store. So that's the ideology behind this topic. So let's go. We have January 6th. January 6th, we have we bought goods January 6th, 20,000 at 10 per one. So January 6th. January 6th. So we bought what's the quantity we bought? We bought 20,000 at 10 per one. So the quantity is 20,000. Unit price is 10. So to get the value is 20,000 times 10. So you have 20,000 times 10. The value is 200,000. So this is what we are buying. We will transfer it to the store. So in our store, we will be having quantity of 200,000, 20,000 rather, and unit price of 10. So the value is 200,000. That is what we have in our store. And let it be known that whenever you are solving this question, please always underline it like this. I will tell you, or you will get to understand as we solve more questions. So after January 6th, the next date is January 8th. So January 8th, we sold, we are selling now. And our method is FIFO, first in, first out. So we've not really bought much goods. This is the only goods we bought. So and we want to sell 8,000 units out of what we've bought. We've bought 20,000, so we want to sell 8,000. So you come here, January, what is that? From the question, that is January 8th. So you go, January 8th. Now it's not going to be on the receipt side anymore because you're not receiving. Now you are selling. So it will be on the issue side. January 8th. How much are you selling? You're selling it 8,000. You're selling 8,000 quantity. At what price? What's the price of the first one you bought? Because it is first in, first out. The first one you bought was 10. So you're selling it at that same price, 10. So what would be the value? 8,000 times 10. That would be 80,000. So 80,000. Now, the question is, from your store, you have 20,000. Now, if you remove, you sold 8,000 out of 20,000, you'll be having 12,000 left. 12,000 left. And what is the price? It is the price of 10. At what value? 12,000 times 10, 120,000. So whether it is receipt, whether it is issue, it will always affect your balance. So you come again, you close it up, you close it up. Now, if you continue, we've treated January 6th, we've treated January 8th. The next one is January 16th, and January 16th we are buying. So January 16th we bought goods worth of how much? 15,000, now at 12.5. So January 6th, January 16 rather, January 16 we are buying how much? 15,000 at 12.5. So quantity, receipt side, because you are receiving 15,000 at 12.5. 12.5. So the value 15,000 times 12.5 we give 187,500. 187,500. Now this is what I'm going to be transferring to my balance. But if you look at my balance, I have a previous something in store, a previous inventory of 12,000 at 10 for 120,000. I have it in store. So you will bring it down before you add the new one. So bringing what I have in the store down first, I will have 12,000 at what price? 10, 120,000. Now I have bought more goods of 15,000 at 12.5 and for 187,500. So this is what I have in my store. Then I will rule. Now I'm able to understand that this thing. Now let me tell you the importance of this line. The importance of this line is simply because so that you won't mix up, the prices, you won't mix up the quantity. If you don't rule now, you might be thinking this 12,000 is for this one, or you might just be mixing things together. So it is better to just rule. So when you rule, it will show you that yes, this one is belongs to this one belongs to this. You'll be able to clarify them for clarity. That's why you need to divide and rule like this. So we treated January 16. Now the next date is January 18. So January 18 now we are selling 10,000 units. We want to sell 10,000 units. So January 18. Of course, it won't be on the receipt side. It will be on the issue side. So January 18, 10,000 units. Now 10,000 units. I can sell the 10,000 units because if you look at it, I'm using FIFO, first in, first out. I can sell the 10,000 units from the previous 12,000 I have, because if I want to sell, I have to sell all these 12,000 quantities I have before I can sell this 15,000. So now I want to sell 10,000. So I can still sell 10,000 from this 12,000. So January 18, 10,000 units. So I'll have 10,000 at what price? What is the hood price? 10, and that is 100,000. So if I'm selling 10,000 from 12,000. I'm left with 2,000 at a price of what? 10. Now 2,000 I said that's 20,000. Then I still have my 15,000 quantity untouched. So 15,000 at 12.5 for 187,500. That one I've not even touched that one at all. So you rule it. So after January 18, we have January 26. So I'm buying again. I bought another good January 26. I bought 30,000 at 15.0. So January 36, sorry, January 26, January 26. So I'm buying 30,000 at 15.0, 30,000 at 15 per 1. So 30,000 at 15 per 1. So that's 30,000 times 15. That will give us 450,000. 450,000. So what I have in my store before, I will bring it down before I had this one. What I have in my store before was 2,000 at 10 for 20,000 and 15,000 at 12.5 for 187,500. Now I bought another one, 30,000, 30,000 for 15.0 at 450,000. So this is what I have in my store. This is the totality of everything I have in my store. So let's continue. Now, I've treated January 26, I'm left with no January 24 before 26. 24 before 26. 24 before 26. Let's rule this like this. Let's cancel this like this. Sorry for that. 24 before 26. So we have to treat this 24 before 26. So 2024 we made 6,000 unit sales. So just remove this one. Let's continue from here. So January 24 we made 6,000 units of sales. So January 24, of course it will not be on the receipt side, it will be on the issue side. So because we said we made 6,000 units. Now I want to sell 6,000 units. I have 2,000 left in my store from the previous store, and I have 15,000 from the new inventories. So, but I cannot sell my 6,000 from this 2,000 because I said we are making sales of 6,000. So since I cannot sell my 6,000 from this 2,000, I will first sell this 2,000 and later I will sell the remaining 4,000 from 15,000. So let's go. I'll first sell all the 2,000 at 10 for 20,000. Then out of this 15,000, I'll sell my remaining 4,000. 4,000 for 12.5. So 4,000 times 12.5 will be having 50,000. So if you remove that from your store, this 2,000 is out, right? 2,000 is out. Then what did I have left? If 2,000 is out of this 15,000, I've sold 4,000. So 4,000, I'm left with 11,000 at 12.5. So 11,000 times 12.5, 11,000 times 12.5. I have 137,500. 137,000. So this is what I have left in my store. We close that again. That's for January 24. Then we move to January 26. So January 26, I bought 30,000 goods. I bought 30,000 now. So January 26, January 26, I bought 30,000 at 15.0. So quantity 30,000 at 15.0. That's the same thing as 15. So 30,000 times 15. That's 450,000. 450,000. So I'm taking this to my store. If I'm taking this to my store, I'll have to bring my previous store. What is available in my store? What is available in my store before was 11,000 at 12.5 for 137,500. Now I bought additional extra goods of 30,000. I'll showcase that 30,000 at 15.0 for 450,000. And that is all for January 26. Then we move to the last one, which is January 29. Now, going forward, the last aspect is January 29. I sold 20,000 units. So the store made sales of 20,000 units. Now, January 29, January 29, 20,000 units is what we sold. So it will not be under received, 20,000 units. And in my store, I have 11,000 and 30,000. So I cannot sell the 10,000 units from this 11,000. I rather sell all these 11,000 first and sell the remaining 9,000 from this 30,000. So I'll sell all the 11,000 first at 12.5, which will give me 137,500. Then I'll sell the remaining 9,000 out of 30,000. So 9,000 at 15.0. 15.0. So what will that give? 9,000 times 15.0. 9,000 times 15.0. That gives us 135,000. 135,000. So what will I have left in my store? I've sold all these 11,000. Out of this 30,000, I've sold 9,000. So I'm left with 21,000. So 21,000 quantity at 15.0. 21,000 quantity. So 21,000 times 15.0. That's 315,000. 315. So what I have left in my store at the end of January is 21,000 inventories at 15.0, which costs 315,000. So there is need, after preparing all this, there is need for you to tell them that the closing stock at the end of January is, so you tell them 21,000 quantity at 15, which gives us 315,000. So this is the closing stock that we have at the end of January. So this has brought us to the end of the first um method of inventory, which is FIFO. If you have any issues with it, please go back and watch how we analyze everything step by step and make sure you understand. So shortly I'll be getting back on Lifo and weighted average method. You don't want to miss this. Please just click the subscription button if this is your first time on this channel, and if you are a returning subscriber, God bless you. I'll see you in my next video class. Thank you.